Hi, my name is Randi von Bose, and this is Kaysville Condensed. I attended the December 7th City Council meeting for you, so you would not have to. You're welcome. Normally you would see Katie Witt sitting here, but she has recently been elected to be our next mayor and will be sworn in next month. I hesitantly volunteered to take over Kaysville Condensed so that we could continue sharing information through this medium and also to allow Katie to focus on her new responsibilities. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and hope for the best. In our most recent meeting, there were a few items that brought some discussion. The first one was a new subdivision that is being proposed around 600 South and 550 East. This is the Whisper Creek subdivision. A point that makes this an interesting subdivision is that a few weeks ago there was a preliminary plat approved to have an assisted living center put in just to the west of this new subdivision right off of Main Street. Because of the assisted living center, the city is concerned about having access from the east into the assisted living center in case of emergency. The neighborhood, on the other hand, is concerned that right now along 550 East there are a number of handicapped individuals living there, and they rely on using the street for access as well as being outdoors. If we were to connect 600 South coming into Kaysville with 550 East, this would create a point of access from 89 down to Main Street, and it could significantly increase the amount of traffic along their road. And so there is concern, and when this went before the Planning Commission, it was presented to have a gate on either end of that connecting throughway in order to mitigate the traffic that will come. As it came before City Council, the concerns about access to the assisted living center, as well as concern about our own ordinances that state that if there are a certain number of homes in a neighborhood, there have to be a certain number of access points. With the new development going on, as well as there only being one access point currently, it would not be fitting with our city ordinance to create the subdivision without this being a throughway. So the City Council did vote to approve the preliminary plat contingent on it being a through street. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds and moves forward with the neighborhood. The next point that came forward on the agenda that I just wanted to briefly mention is the contract that the city entered into with an engineering firm to begin fixing the bridge going over 200 North. There is nothing structurally unsound about the bridge, but when it was installed, there were some panels that were installed incorrectly, and there has been some settling. So we have contracted with a company to begin work on that, and that construction will begin in the coming construction season. So watch out for that and be aware that that will be coming. The next point that came forward was that of our utility rates. This is something that hopefully everyone is aware of, as this will affect every resident here in Kaysville. The Power Commission was formed a year or two back to begin working through the process of studying out power rates and making sure that our power company was getting the needed funding to give the best service to our residents here in Kaysville. They have put in many, many hours and collectively have a great amount of expertise as they studied this out. And what they found was that on one hand, we are about 15% below the average that is charged by other power companies here in the state of Utah. That is wonderful. The concern becomes that we are not generating enough funds to do as much as we should to keep our power grid up. And so they did a lot of research, and it is put forward that for where we're at right now and for our future needs that we need to have an increase. So it was approved by the City Council at this last meeting to increase the rates, and you can see that rate structure online. But it basically will mean that every resident using about average consumption will see about a 4 to 5% increase on their electric bill coming up. But that also will come with the bonus of having improvements to our power structure. Additionally, with that discussion came a discussion about solar panels. These are becoming more prevalent in our community, and it is wonderful to see. Right now, anyone who has solar panels still accesses our city's power grid from time to time because there are no home batteries that are large enough at this point to hold the needed power for any household. So there are times that people access the power grid, but there was not a fee structure that represented that. And so if you don't have solar on your home, there is a bit of subsidizing of those who are still accessing the power grid as far as maintenance goes. So our Power Commission has been working through a new rate structure that would take that into account for solar users. They have come up with a new proposal of what those rates will be. The concern became that for those who have solar, they invested into that technology with an expectation of what their rates would be as they pay off their solar systems. It is quite an investment and usually takes on average about 15 years to pay off that investment. So the city wanted to be respectful of those who signed up with the understanding that they would have time on the back end before they had larger rates on their utility bills. So it was decided that there would be a 15-year period to grandfather in those who have existing solar. That will go into effect on December 31st. Anybody who has an agreement with the city to have solar on their home before December 31st will be grandfathered into the old rates. What that means for anyone who does not have solar is that there is still time. The first step that you have to do is to fill out a net metering agreement. That is available online right now. You can print it out and take it to the city. There's no additional commitment with that. There's no fees associated with that. It is just the first step that you would have to take before December 31st to get that agreement filled out and filed with the city. You then would have until March 31st to meet with a solar company and come up with an engineering plan that can be submitted with permitting forms and fees. So if that is all taken care of by March 31st, you are eligible to be grandfathered in to the rates that have been established prior to this new proposal. So if you're interested in solar, just remember, go check out that net metering agreement. One other point of interest on the agenda was that they put forward a plan to discuss a new road utility fee. This has been discussed at length that our roads need special attention, and right now there is consideration of a road utility fee. There will be open houses to discuss this. The first open house will be on January 24th at City Hall, and then there will also be a public hearing before the City Council meeting on February 1st. You will receive notices. There will be messages through our new city alert system. It will be on the marquee. Hopefully everybody will get notified, but just be aware that this is coming down the pike, and if you have concerns about it, you need to get involved at this point. Lastly, the next City Council meeting has been moved from 7 p.m. until 5 p.m., but it will still be on December 21st at 5 p.m. at City Hall. We hope to see you there. As always, there's good discussion. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time.